So today's guest is another amazing, nice, chill, wonderful person and new streamer. He's always friendly, and I met him through Slack Jeff, who's been also one of my guests previously on the podcast. He's always showing support. He's always so welcoming and super fun to watch. We're going to talk about a lot of things tonight. There's going to be some games as well. Please welcome Syngod1, aka Sin, to tonight's episode. And I hope you guys enjoy our chat. So the segment one is first segment is called The Road to Twitch and Gaming. First things first, before I start, tell me, how are you doing today?
I'm not too bad. It's the end of the work day and the end of the work week, so finally able to get home, start winding down and relaxing for the upcoming weekend.
That's nice. So can you tell me about how you discovered Twitch? Well, I don't know. I don't know the story. Some people might know how you decided to become a streamer and who pushed you into it, and a little bit about the channel.
So my first introduction to Twitch was mostly through viewing, and that encompasses a couple of years of it. I had met up with a mutual friend of a friend that was through the cosplay community. Met them once, wanted to keep in touch because they were, that one meeting was cool vibes, I guess you would say, and found out that they did Twitch. So to, try to support somebody that was cool, I first made an account on Twitch, and then from there found one of the people in that individual's now former stream team. Also supported them because they were a good friend of that individual, and then through raids and everything like that has spread out to the amount of people that I know. And what sort of got me towards the, hey, I would like to do this, is wanting to interact with people, wanting to not only just the interaction portion, but also the way you must present, let's say, a content or any other media. It's more tailored. It has a lot of different nuance to it that I didn't know how to do. And so I wanted to take the jump into actually doing streaming to try and teach myself how to public speak, how to present information in such a way that it is coherent and isn't as, I guess you could say, stuttery as it was before, because it is able to help you in a lot of different things, not only in the media side, but if I were to go back to, let's say, corporate America, or any other, corporate world, being able to present an idea, being able to speak clearly, being able to get an idea across while doing other things at the same time is a valuable skill in my eyes.
Yep, that is nice. Funny thing, since you mentioned America. So one thing that Sin has in Slack Jeff's channel, as soon as he pops in the first message, he has an intro sound, which is America, fuck yeah. Why did you choose this specifically? I know you Americans are all prideful and hanging on to your America.
So ironically, it wasn't me who came up with that to be my intro. And in fact, I never asked for an intro.
Okay.
That was done by Slack Jeff. Fantastic guy, really. And the reason that it came about was every time somebody would use the bang redeem in his channel, I would just, as a joke, because I'm American and I was a soldier at the time, I would just do the exclamation point, America, all caps, that kind of joking, yeah, America, guns, bang, bang. And it was for a joke. And at a certain point, I believe I redeemed VIP or something to that effect. And he was like, I'm gonna add this. And so one of the times I came in, that came up when I entered, because every time that command went off, I would just, use the same thing. And it became a little running joke.
I do remember that conversation happening every time.
I still try to do it. Now I have to redeem it every once in a while because no one does anymore.
Yeah, I mean, some people go bananas on sound and stuff, but I mean, they have their fun, But can you tell me, where did the name Syngod1 come from, and what's the lore behind it?
So it's the original part of it was back in high school. There was a game called Deus Ex. Human Revolution, I believe, was the one that had come out at the time, and it was
I remember
the cyberpunk game, and it had really fantastic prosthetics. And it had a lot of imagery based on Icarus from Greek mythology, and it just had a lot of these different things. And I guess you'd say at the time I was very unhappy with the religion that I was in, and I wanted to also go into college for biomedical engineering. I wanted to build prosthetics for those who had lost their limbs, and I wanted to learn how to build like exoskeletons for those who either needed it for physical disability or for like construction work and stuff like that. So originally it was a much more longer one, and it was Synthetic God, and it was essentially trying to rebuild humans. And that's where it came from. It wasn't meant to be a gamer tag, and then I just shortened it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of it's quick, it's easy to say.
Yeah.
And I might as well. But that's where it initially came from. It was quite literally me wanting to go into biomedical to rebuild humans, because it makes their lives easier if they have their limbs again, if anything like that.
It also goes like two ways, like sin as in S-I-N as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I can say all the naughty things, and it's funnier as well. So it works out. Yeah,
and I did stream and I did play Deus Ex, and I still want to go back to it, but I struggle so bad with first-person shooters.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
They're not for everyone.
I struggled so bad today on Back 4 Blood on console. So, yeah, I didn't rage quit. I just gave it up.
But it's a bit quick-paced as well, at times.
It's not quick-paced. It's like, I said something on stream. I'm like, okay, fine. I admit, controller is bad.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you remember what was the first game you ever streamed?
Ooh. First game I streamed?
It wasn't that long, though.
I know, it was July 1st. It was 3 months ago. It was one of the new ones. Oh, yeah, First Descendant. That was the first one I did.
Oh, yeah, because I remember you went through some Star Wars as well?
Yes, I have. That was like the 5th or 6th one, I think. Because I did First Descendant for the first two, and then Outer Worlds I started getting into. Which is,
Outer Worlds, yeah.
Yep.
That I vaguely remember. So you do a variety of games, but what other games are you willing to play on stream in the future, and what games are you willing to avoid on stream?
I'll honestly probably avoid horror. I'm not a fan of them. And then in terms of what I plan on playing and or am open to play, a lot of action type games, either FPS, third person. I'm not that biased towards them. I like a lot of them. I have a few games that I would like to still get through. Like for my birthday, I was running through part of the Dark Forces 2, which was a 1997 Star Wars FPS game.
Yeah.
I was playing that, and I want to get through that one. I want to get through the next two in that series. Maybe play a large number of the other Star Wars games that are out there, such as KOTOR, KOTOR 2. The Warhammer games, if they have more story-based, are pretty fun. Or on a chill day, maybe Dark Tide or Space Marine 2, they're kind of more co-op styled games.
Yeah.
And then I also have games like Ghost of Tsushima that I would love to play. Horizon Forbidden West, since I haven't played that. I have played the one before it. The Lord of the Rings games, Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War.
Are you even going to play the Golem game?
Probably not.
And
I don't think I've heard any good things about it.
About the Star Wars one, is the Lego Star Wars also planned?
It's not currently planned. I'm not against it. It really depends on which ones I get through and if I start running lower on other games.
Yeah. Because I've done it a lot. Because I've done it like I kind of skimmed through it on Switch, because this is where I initially had it in the first place, and then on console, I restarted it on console because I got it fresh, and I went through it on stream. I haven't finished it yet. I used to do like Star Wars Saturdays, where I just play Star Wars games, but that's a thing in the past now. I don't know why. So what are your limits regarding your streams? Like what would like get someone banned? What's the big no-no? What's allowed? What isn't in chat?
Well, like as I would say, obviously, because it's also against TOS, is anything to do with like the bots, right? Those are immediate. Even though, as a joke, I'm probably going to ban it, which I believe most everyone will do because you don't want to accidentally get into that mess. Banning, if somebody is very aggressive towards another person, whether it's with just being extremely inappropriate towards them in an unwanted way. And if it's in an unwanted way, then it'll be more of a, hey, go take it offline somewhere, right? Yeah. But if it's very aggressive, attacking another person, be it for any reason, it could be, if they found out of sexual orientation, where they're from, what their religion might be, what their political affiliation may be, any specific reason. And if anyone were to attack another person in that way, I'd give them a warning. And if they continued, ban them. And if it was the first thing they said, I don't want that. So that would sort of be the limits in that regard. Beyond that, it's going to be context-based. Because as you know, I am able to use my voice in such a way that some people find enjoyable. So I'm not going to just be, hey, nothing inappropriate. But I don't want that to be the focus. So it's going to be based a lot on context, I believe.
Yeah, that's fair enough. The only thing that's a big no-no in my channel, other than bigotry or just like anything against TOS, is possibly the first thing is politics, because I try to avoid it. But yeah. Yep. So I also know you're a chef. What's the worst and what's the best part of it?
So, I get called that. I would personally call myself more of an amateur cook or a home cook.
That's what I heard people
just make
saying.
Things look fancy.
So I base it on what people are saying. So,
yeah, the nice part is I can make food. Whether it is for another person, be it like when I lived in a barracks, it was nice to be able to make food for those around me. Here it's for like my roommate. If I were to ever get back into the whole dating thing, making it for a significant other, it's very nice to be able to do that. The negatives, it takes time and money. Because I don't do it as a profession, a lot of the negatives that you would have with food preparation are not there. Because I'm doing it just as a personal thing. If I had to do it for a job, then it would no longer be, hey, I would like to make this tasty treat for someone that I care about. It's, I have to make this food for anyone. And besides the fact that it does take quite a bit of time for some dishes, and if you mess it up, it's gone, or you eat something that's not very good.
Yeah. So what's the worst dish you've ever just like had to either taste, make, or like, I don't know, serve probably to not only you but like your roommates or something? And what's the best one?
Ooh, I would say the best is dependent. And like with most things in life, of course, one of the ones that I liked more so that I made for another person, it was one of the people that lived in the same barracks, and it was their birthday. So I made them a sourdough bread bowl. I didn't make the bread itself just because I didn't have a place to do so, but I would love to learn how to make all of those. The different types of loaves of bread, like, brioche, sourdough, ciabatta, all of them. So that was bought, but then I made a homemade clam chowder, New England style, and in the bread bowl, made like garlic bread for them and all of this, and I made it for their birthday. And that one turned out really well, and that I would list among the top. But then I've also made things like an apple and cheddar, a white cheddar soup that turned out fantastic. My roommate, when his mother was visiting, I made that, and they both really enjoyed it. So it truly depends on the audience that is going to consume the food as to what the best is. Worst, hands down, was when I experimented, though. I had made like a spam musubi, which was delicious.
Spam?
But
like the actual spam, like the ham?
Yes, like the spam. If you've ever seen like the canned,
yep.
You're not really sure what it is. And then musubi, which I believe originated in Hawaii. and it's just a block of rice with a marinated Spam that was kind of fried on there and then wrapped in a seaweed.
Wait, so Spam is kind of similar to luncheon, but not close, if I recall. Luncheon meat?
Yes, it's a processed can of meat.
Processed can, because we have something equivalent here called Zwan. It originates from Bulgaria, I think, or somewhere in Europe. It is our version of Spam, so I don't know.
It's very possible. I would probably have to see it, and it wouldn't surprise me. It falls under like the same, I guess, category as the internals of it. At least look a lot like a hot dog or any of bologna. You know what I'm like? Those very overly ground up meat pastes that have then reformed because of being forced into a can. Not the most appetizing looking thing. It's very also salty. It's because, the preserve style is salt. And so I made the musubi. It was fantastic. And I was like, what else can I do? I was trying to figure out different things I could make. And so I made a sort of a burger using that.
So how many hours per day or week in general do you spend on Twitch? Not only streaming.
Oh, God. I am a chronic lurker. I'll say that first. So if it were to be actual uptime on Twitch, where a browser somewhere is watching a Twitch stream almost 24/7, the time that I am personally watching it, on the weekdays, it could be a few hours that I'm physically trying to interact with it. And it really depends on how busy something is. Like if it's a really busy day at work, it'll be less because I'm able to sometimes jump on, say hello, and then go back to either lurking or closing the tab if I'm not able to continue watching it. On the weekends, it also depends. A lot of it is lurking because that is what I usually try to stream is on Saturdays on my time. And then occasionally throughout the week, if I can, Tuesdays, Thursdays, it just depends on how busy I am or how tired I am after work. In terms of the time I am on Twitch as streaming, I usually try at least 4 hours when I do stream on the weekdays. And then during the weekend, if I have just the one, I try to go 6 to 8 hours on Saturday.
Yeah. So to the new people out there who just started streaming or maybe thinking about it, what's one advice you want to give them?
Get to know people, honestly. And I know networking is kind of a bad term I've learned in regards to Twitch, because the way people have gone about it is not trying to make a connection, is trying to be like, hey, look at me. I stream too. You should help me, for no reason. And I don't agree with that. But the actual art of networking is, to me, at the very beginning, very important for how fast you can actually grow. And as just examples, I have some really great friends of mine, and these are before, and they just started streaming more as a curiosity, not as a, hey, I would like to really devote time to this. And the growth was quite slow. I was very blessed and or lucky that the communities that I was a part of, I want to support them. And in return, they wanted to support me when they found out that I was going to be starting to stream. And it was much faster in the initial push than I thought it would ever be. So getting to know a community, the communities around, and just sort of naturally being a part of it. Maybe you raid someone if you have a couple people. Interact with them. If somebody asks if you're streaming, be like, I started it. But don't put it in people's faces. That's going to be one of the biggest turnoffs for anyone wanting to support you, is you trying to force yourself into their realm. Because even the nicest person, in the end, Twitch is going to be some sort of business, whether it's a business for passion, somebody's doing it for fun, somebody's doing it for just the community that they can build, or they're trying to do it for money. It's still, in the end, their product that they're giving to others. And trying to force yourself into that it's not good manners, in my opinion.
Yep. And let's add to that not only networking, but at least say that you're lurking, do ! Lurk in some channels. That's or always take suggestions. This is what I tell my friend. Always take suggestions to raid someone new, or if you know the people, for example, be around, because One of my friends slash mods is also kind of like on the struggle bus with the numbers, and he's been at it for 5 years. We're kind of pushing him. I'm telling him like, okay, this streamer is on, just lurk, make yourself, put yourself out there, because he doesn't do that, and this is what gets people places sometimes.
Absolutely. Because not only you have been super supportive, Jeff, super supportive, says, my friend Sanguine, all of these people have been so super supportive. And then there's other people that I've met through raids that I was like, oh, you seem cool. I'm going to hang out. I'm going to, say little jokes or try to, if they're not having the greatest day, hey, I hope you feel all right. Little things like that, just the association becomes there. And then if they saw you online, they're like, oh, I'm going to lurk, give you, an extra view there. I'm going to say hello. And it really also depends on brand, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, I try to be nice to people. I want the world to be a better place, so I want to give that to others. And some people don't want that to be their brand or their vibe. So finding that, just understanding that there's consequences to how you want your vibe to be too, both good and bad. I
mean, yeah, streaming has both its pros and its cons, and I understand that. When I started, I didn't understand quite what to do because, I was on console and usually Jeff was streaming, and I would only be able to stream on Saturdays for the time. So I kind of just lurked there because I was streaming from work back when work was just less than a mile away from my house, our old offices, until we moved probably 8, 9, probably 10 miles away. Well, it seems like it's a close distance, but it's not, considering how small of a country we are. But I don't know, it felt different. So this is how I grinded points. This is back when VIP was probably 50k in his channel. So you get to know people. Sometimes people just offer you a badge, a VIP badge or a sword, just because they know you're around, they know you from places, they know that they can count on you, for example. Other people let's say one of my friends who's on right now, for example, he gave me a sword out of nowhere. He was like, hey Blue, I've been willing to do this for a long time. I was like, what? Honestly, I've known him since probably 2022, and he hasn't been streaming for the majority of 2023. So when he came back, he was like, oh, you're here. I'm like, yeah, hold on, let me do something. He was like, no, let me do something. And I ended up with a founder's badge because he stopped streaming for 6 months, and then Twitch says oh, you're gone for 6 months, well, you have to restart your affiliate program. So now we are gonna do, this segment would probably require you to have probably a notepad or a notebook or something to write stuff down on it, because we're gonna play a little bit of games. The first one is called Play, Delete, Uninstall. I've added a few little mini games. The first one is similar to Kill, Marry, Sleep With. And in this mini game, I will name a set of 3 games each time. You will have to tell me which one you'd play, which one you delete from existence, or uninstall. Simple as that. And that also includes the whole franchise.
Oh.
And you have 3 jokers. Might up them to 4, depending on the situation. That allow you to either delete all of the games during one of the questions, or keep all of them. You cannot uninstall one, or keep one and delete 2, and etc. You're also free to skip any of these if you feel stuck or just blank out on one, because this segment is where I show my evil side. Okay, so the first ones are going to be shooter games. with Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, and Battlefield.
As it stands right now, I'm going with the most modern versions of all of these. Play COD, uninstall Battlefield, and delete CS.
Okay. Apex, Fortnite, and Valorant.
That's easy. I don't play those. But I'll play Fortnite, sure. Just because I know people that do.
All right.
Uninstall Apex and we'll delete Valorant because I don't think I've ever heard good things about Val.
I mean, who has, honestly? Like, I don't know. So PUBG, Overwatch 2, and Halo.
We'll play Halo, delete PUBG, uninstall Overwatch.
Okay. Valheim, Stardew Valley, and Minecraft.
Okay. Well, I'll play Valheim, uninstall Minecraft, and we'll delete delete Stardew. Why not?
All right. So Gears of War, The First Descendant, and Once Human.
And then Once Human. Play Gears of War, uninstall First Descendant, delete Once Human.
All right. Star Wars games and Warhammer games, and also what's it called? Destiny 2.
Now I have a question before I continue.
Yeah.
Do you reuse any of the options, or is that still in the air and you can do so as you choose?
What do you mean by that?
So let's say I pick something here, or let's say we're going back to the Valheim, Stardew Valley, Minecraft.
No, those are gone.
Any of those pop up later?
Those are
they
gone.
Won't come back
those
up?
are gone. No, those are gone. Like what?
Okay, and then you said I could use a joker to accept 2 and delete 1.
You can save all of them with the joker or delete all of them.
Okay, I'll just save all of them.
You can skip.
No, I'll just save all of them. I'm fine using up one of the jokers for Star Wars and Warhammer.
All right. So Baldur's Gate, Elden Ring, Diablo.
Play Baldur's Gate, uninstall Elden Ring, delete Diablo.
Okay. Quake, Doom, and the Elder Scrolls series.
We'll play Elder Scrolls. We'll uninstall Doom and we'll delete Quake.
Okay, so I'm gonna skip a whole bunch because most of them are horror games. But these 3 don't fall quite into the horror genre, but they also have shooters in them. Fallout series, Dead Space, Mass Effect.
I'll use one of the 2 remaining jokers as it stands right now to keep all of them, and that's because Fallout is awesome, Mass Effect is awesome, and then Dead Space, the character's first name is mine, so I'm keeping that.
Fair enough. Cyberpunk, GTA, and Saints Row.
Heard the 3 options that I picked? Okay, so play Cyberpunk, uninstall Saints Row, and delete GTA.
Alright, we're gonna go into more of like fun community games now with Fall Guys, Party Animals, and Chained Together.
I don't play any of them, so...
You can skip. There is like 3 more options, or like 3 more things to go through if you want to save the Joker.
Oh, I'll pick something. Like, since I don't have any, dog in the fight, as it were, I can pick whatever. I'm just trying to think of what people I know like.
It's all your choice. It's all your choice. You don't have to base it on people.
I'd probably play Fall Guys out of all those. Uninstall Party Animals and delete Chained Together.
Okay. Assassin's Creed, Uncharted, Tomb Raider.
Play Assassin's Creed, uninstall Tomb Raider, and delete Uncharted.
Alright. The last 3 are Kingdom Hearts, Persona, Final Fantasy.
I'll use my last joker to delete all of them.
Fair enough. Alright, so this game, the second game, is a little bit of more of a fun game. So the goal of this mini game consists of it's called Rename the Game. The goal of this mini game consists of simply coming up with different names for games, or changing one word from the game name with the chosen word. For example, let's say the word is carrot, for example, Alan Carrot, Grand Theft Carrot, for example, etc. It's all improvised. We each have to think of a game name and modify it until one of us says the same game, or probably just run out of games. So today's word is saber, because I know you use that on your channel. So, house saber.
Age of Sabers.
Cooking saber.
Akanero Demon Sabers.
Saber guys.
The Saber XCOM Declassified.
Dead by Saber.
Chivalry. Saber Warfare.
Batman Arkham Saber.
Counter Saber.
Saber Rising.
Saber Z.
Ravenous Sabers.
Dying Saber.
Saber Myers Civilization 6.
Edge of Saber.
Midnight Saber Hunt.
Flat Saber.
The Saber Party Pack.
Legend of Grim Saber 2.
Alright, Pokemon Saber.
World of Saber.
Saber Wars.
Assassin Saber Unity.
Alright. The Binding of Saber.
Saber Mesa.
Dead Saber.
Deus Ex Mankind Sabered.
I think you said something about Deus Ex before.
In the very beginning of, but not for this.
Okay. I don't know if I should count it or...
No, at the beginning of like the stream about the username, but I haven't said it since
okay.
naming portion.
Okay. Cult of the Saber.
The Saber Descendant.
Planet Saber.
Forever Sabers.
Saber Hearts. Alright, so... I forgot where we were. Planet Saber? I think I said that. Oh god. Well, you win. So this is segment 3. We are gonna switch it up with like a lightning round / pop quiz. These are like random, like general questions.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind telling me and the listeners what's your daily routine? Something that you always like to do, maybe recently has become something regular that you do?
Besides the normal go to work, get ready for work, go to work, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Let's say getting lurks set up. It's become kind of a routine now, going back through all the different tabs that from various ratings and whatnot in Twitch, and just checking which friends are online and getting those up, saying hello if I can, and then getting ready for my day.
Okay. So if you ever were to be any object or creature, real or fictional, what would you be and why?
A Vulcan.
Interesting. I would probably be a unicorn with wings.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spacefaring for me is the thing.
Yeah. But the unicorn I'm referencing probably has like 2 horns on top of each other. Yeah. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve?
If you blank out, you can always skip.
I can't really think of a biggest. There's a lot of things that annoy me.
Okay.
Various people being overly loud with bodily noises. Is generally like talking with their mouth full, like the smacking sound. If they chew with their mouth open, that kind of thing. It's probably one of the bigger ones that are more universal to most groups of individuals that I have. Other ones are more specific to certain gaming people.
Yeah. I kind of like relate to this because like any like repetitive or constant noises or constant things that happen, for example, like let's say spamming, or like if someone just likes to just like make some sort of like noises, kind of like probably tapping or like repeatedly, that annoys the heck out of me. So what's one thing or one person you cannot live without? Wow, that's fair.
In the end.
I mean, fair enough. So what's your comfort off-stream game?
Oh, it changes. I don't have any one game that I'll continuously play because it just changes every once in a while. The game that I did find quite enjoyable, and I have done on stream once, like at the last like hour of a longer stream that I did, was Atlas Fallen, and I just think it's a really cool environment, and it was quite relaxing to play off stream, just to chill.
Okay. What is one of your all-time favorite songs?
I'm one of those people that listens to one song until I can't stand it and then switches to another one.
It can be a song that you're recently into that you cannot stop listening to as well.
There's a lot that I rotate through, but maybe Raining Stars by Lord of the Lost. That one I've been kind of stuck listening to quite a few times. Still, even.
Yeah. Mine is Midnight City by M83. It's a French band, but the song is, funny enough, featured in GTA 5. If you heard it, you'd probably recognize it. It's such a tune, like very popular tune.
I'll write it down and I'll definitely look it up.
Yeah. So what's one of your all-time favorite movies?
Does it make me a bad person if I say Deadpool?
Nope.
The first one, at least.
The first one, yeah.
I don't generally watch movies. I have the attention span of a squirrel on various levels of stimulants, and which means I don't have one. So it is usually difficult for me to watch a movie, but Deadpool has been able to keep my attention, and I think it's just a mix of the pacing with a mix of jokes and the action and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I do find a lot of them fascinating. It's just I have to watch it in very, very small pieces.
Yeah, I am very, very, very pro-anti-Marvel, and everybody knows this, and I'm very vocal about it, but Deadpool is the exception, honestly, because Deadpool, he is already a comedic character. Like, it's not like, let's say, Disney probably is pushing it over the limit by making the Hulk say poorly written dad jokes every 5 seconds. That thing I'm against, honestly. Like, I'm not here to watch a comedy. I'm here to watch like a superhero movie, take it a little bit seriously. So, yeah. So, same question, but this time, what's one of your all-time favorite talk shows, game shows, or a series series can be also like a TV show or anything that you've been like keeping on repeat lately, or one of your all-time favorites?
I don't think I've ever quite just played any media such as that. I'll play songs on repeat, but any longer form media, I don't think I've ever done on repeat. But if I were to say a TV show, Firefly. And then if I were to say like maybe a YouTube series or something like that, is the reviews of like expert reacts, on YouTube.
Wow. Yeah.
But there's a specific one that it's a gentleman who works at the museum in England. And he goes over usually like how video game weaponry is related to or has to tie into a real world object version.
Yeah.
And those ones are always pretty cool to me, just to see how somebody who knows very, very well knows living like real world weaponry can say, hey, look at this video game, here's some pieces of inspiration, and then you can get an idea of the thought process that went into the design aspects of that item in the video game.
Going back to, I'm pretty sure you mentioned the British Museum. I think at some point you just trolled Jeff with it, like blame the British Museum. Yeah, I really remember that. And with the Apple, what's it called? The Apple thing?
Oh, Macintosh.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. I really need to go. It is around the season now. Actually, last month was probably closer to the season around the area that I live in that they should be, coming off the trees and being sold fresh. So I really should go around and try to find an orchard that has Macintosh and then send all of the pictures to Jeff.
You
just as proof.
Took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, do that before the episode airs. So that you would have like the upper hand in that.
I'll definitely have to look around.
Oh yeah. So what would you do with $1 million?
Invest it.
Into what?
I personally am not great with finances. My way of processing it is very vague. It is due to my attention span. I just kind of roundabout. That's how I process it. So I'm like, I should use only about this much a month. And as long as I'm under that number, then it will increase over time. So I am not the person that should be choosing what to invest in. I would use that to go to a professional, somebody who had actually gone through the accounting, through the investment type, the proper schooling. Even if I have to give them a percentage of it, they would be able to utilize that in a much more effective and efficient way than I could. So I would end up going through somebody who knows what they're doing in order to grow that.
That's fair. What is one thing you spend a lot of money on besides games?
I don't spend on much else. Monster.
Monster Energy. Is there a specific flavor that you love?
And red.
I've never tasted these. We've had the lychee one. The lychee. I don't know how to say.
I wish I had.
And I think at some point we had it's over here. I can see it. I'm a hoarder, so I keep some of the cans, so I can see the purple one, which is grape flavored. Anything grape flavored. It's called ultraviolet, I think. It's so good. Anything grape flavored drinks, give me.
Those aren't too bad. The red and the blue, they were individually sold years ago. 2018 was maybe the last time I actually bought one in the store individually. Now I have to get them in a pack that has red, white, and blue, so Ultra Zero.
Oh yeah,
but it also then has Ultra Red and Ultra Blue.
Red, white, and blue. I mean, America.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just works out.
So I do recall not only seeing it in the media, but I think one time, I told her, like, bring me this drink because it's out here. So there was a drink in the 90s probably, or the 80s, that was like a direct competitor for Mountain Dew. It's called Surge. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, I do.
That was very funky and very loopy. I was like, what the heck did I just taste? Where can I get some more? And then it's gone. I was like, oh God. I had it one time.
It was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Late 90s.
They revived it recently, that's why.
Yep. And looking it up real quick, because I'm obsessed with looking things up when I hear about them. It looks like 2014 is when Amazon exclusive revival.
Yeah.
And then they continued doing so until about 2018.
That's when I got it, yeah. That's when it got discontinued. Like, Mom's trip at that year to the US, she brought me like a few things, and she was like, how am I going to carry this? I'm like, just bring me one. They won't suspect. So what are your favorite hobbies?
That is, well, also very dependent, and it has... that's a difficult one, because the hobbies that I still want to do more of, I can't quite do where I'm at now. I have to move to a place that I'm okay spending the time to do them. Not obviously the one that I do a lot is gaming. I would consider that a hobby, but I also have done in the past and would like to get back into various types of crafting, such as cosplay, like armor and sewing.
Yeah.
Prop building in general, so the different weaponry from video games or shows, and making those more fleshed out and make them look the part.
Yeah. Some people use 3D printers to print out these as parts and then assemble them. Would you ever own a 3D printer at some point?
I own 2 of them.
Oh, you already own. Okay, because you're not the only person that I know that owns a 3D printer. But also, it would be cool. Or have you ever thought of probably streaming these things? Because a lot of people are doing it.
I have, and that's one of the things where I mentioned space and time. So my goal is to move from where I'm currently at in a few months, or not. Actually, it might be half a year at this point because it's only October. However, I have done those projects in the past. I've done the only one I've finished really was an Inquisitor from 40K, and I was working on other ones, and this is before I did a really big lifestyle change. So those projects can take months, over a year at times. So I don't want to build the items, let's say the chest plate for a corrupt version of Cullen from Dragon Age Inquisition, like a corrupt version of him. I would love to still build, but it needs the tunic, it needs the armor, it needs the different, like the normal kind of medieval-y pants, and it needs the tunic underneath the actual shirt. It needs the outer garment, such as the tunic, needs the armor pieces for each part, needs the boots, and all of them need to have a quasi or a partially translucent crystalline structure, which would be 3D printed. However, all of this is not structurally sound for transport. So I don't want to go and build half of it, move halfway across my country, and then have it break, and then need to start over. I'd rather just wait, do templating and design on paper, and then build it when I'm at somewhere I'm going to be a little more permanent.
Yeah. So which of these three things would you give up if you ever had to? Money, gaming, or love?
Love.
All right. What's something you always wanted to learn but you didn't find time for?
Programming.
I mean, it's never too late if you have time now.
Yeah, the time is the bigger
Yeah.
portion at the moment. I do plan on doing that as well. I have a very long list of various things I would like to do. It'll just depend on what I end up doing for work and if I'm exhausted afterward.
Yeah. So if your life was ever to be a video game or a movie about you, what would it be named and why? Mine would be WTF or ...
I mean, I would prefer if the portion of my life that would become a game would be like a crafting simulator where you just build everything. Pick something and make it build. You could do art, you could do cosplay stuff, you could do real life gear. I would love to, learn to make knives and swords and stuff like that. So craft everything.
All right.
I guess would be what I'd prefer it to be.
All right. So if you had one special superpower, what would it be and why and how would you use it?
Immortality, but with the stipulation that I stay at not a young, but not continuous aging. More like stay in my early 30s or somewhere around there where your body still mostly works.
Yeah.
And then immortality. And literally just so I can learn. So I can continuously learn things.
Yeah.
And when I get bored of one thing or if I master a craft, I'll go and learn something else. I'll probably forget the first one. I can start all over, or I live long enough to be able to see, space travel. I get to see how to go to other planets, and just see the universe. And I think that would be absolutely fantastic. It'd probably be very sad because a lot of people, by that I mean almost everyone who's ever been in the conversation about immortality is always like, oh, but you're going to have to watch other people you care about die. It's like, yes, but also I could just learn more things.
Yeah,
that's my drive, is to learn.
I can tell you one thing after freshly recently joining the Dirty 30s club. It's not your body still works, but it works against you sometimes. So
I'm regrettably aware.
yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm in the body of a 56-year-old man, where at some point, the other day Sunday actually, I got locked out of my work when Dad told me I work at a radio station, so my dad told me there is nothing, there's silence on the radio. I'm like, okay, so I had the gate has already been closed, so I rushed back in, tried calling the guy that looks after the place when we're gone. He wasn't there, so I went down. I did literally pull an Assassin's Creed. If you just put your hands up in the air, you can just touch the base of the balcony, I think, that the glass, the top of the glass. So I climbed up there. My body didn't help. I went inside, and then I tried finding an open door because they locked all the doors before they leave. And I found a window in the bathroom. So I wanted to pull a Jason Statham on that, or probably something like that. And I threw my bag inside first, trying to just reach an elevated surface. But it ended up leaving my bag inside and me being unable to just go there. So I called my boss and I told him the situation. He was like, there's a key inside of a bubble wrap in a socket. Get it there. I was like, okay. And when I got it there, I got my bag and I got out. I made sure everything was locked. Instead of probably going back out the other door, I ended up jumping from the balcony, which is not that elevated. So I sprained my ankle. So yeah, that's how it worked against me.
Yeah, it's pretty insane to think about what, as children, assuming that you were more active, like running around
Yeah.
and whatnot as a child, like how much we used to jump off of things. I used to climb trees and jump off like things twice my height and be fine. Like, I'm just a little scuffed up and keep on going. And now I like jump a foot down or something. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to walk for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, and it wasn't Charlie horse or anything. It was like just like it also affected kind of like the my lower back and kind of like parts of my neck. So
yeah.
So if you had an alter ego, what would your alter ego be named, and what would they do?
Oh, well, don't I already have one? It's Sin, and I stream.
That's fair. So, if you had the chance to switch lives with one celebrity from today, who would you pick just for one day? Who would you pick and why?
Oh, God. I don't think I would. There's no one that I would actually want to have to live in the body of.
I have said it before, but Kim Kardashian, even though I don't like them, for three reasons. First reason is I want to see what goes on, like for real, in the background. Second reason is probably sending some of her fortune to my parents.
Just wire it.
Yeah, and then third reason is I want to get to insult her sisters, like call them bitches, or probably use the see you next Tuesday word.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on if would they in return possess you.
I mean, I don't know. That's a one-time thing. I haven't thought ahead.
You know, and that's a variable that I would definitely consider before I'd ever make that choice. If it wasn't a one-for-one swap for the day, I'd pick one of the most horrible people that I could, doing a little research, I'd find out who's very bad but doesn't have any evidence against them, and then make them turn themselves in.
Honestly, with everything going on here recently, there are some politicians I want to swap lives with, like the ruler of Russia or the ruler of Israel. I want to see what goes on in their heads. I want to just study it. So that's basically it. So these are food-related questions now. What's your favorite drink of choice?
Monster.
And alcoholic?
Ooh. See, I don't drink much. A rum and Coke. It's pretty classic, and I do enjoy those at times.
If there is any way I could get a hold of like some Jaeger, I would definitely chug that thing up raw. I don't care. Honestly,
I don't think I've ever had Jaeger.
If you ever plan on trying it, I have a version of it. Like Jaeger, they mix it with like energy drinks. I had vodka. Yeah. And I add sparkling drink to it, since I don't drink soda whatsoever.
See, I drink soda sometimes. I don't drink much alcohol. In fact, my first time actually drinking alcohol, not counting, turn 21, and because that's the legal drinking age in America, and my brother took me out for my first drink kind of thing. Besides that, I didn't really drink. The only reason that I started was I wanted to bartend for my friend's party because I didn't want to drink. I wasn't worried about, getting too drunk and and not being able to make sure that they can stay sober, or not stay sober because their goal is to get drunk, but more they could safely drink and I could keep an eye on them. So I started to drink enough to understand what the flavor profiles were, and that was it.
That's fair. That's fair. What's the weirdest food you've ever had?
The weirdest what?
Weirdest food you've ever had.
For me, it was one of the it's parts of a fish. It's like the reproductive organ of a fish would probably be one of the weirdest ones that I've had. I don't remember the exact name of it. It was at Hot Pot.
The what? Oh my god, I've never heard of that, honestly.
Yeah, it looks really weird.
The weirdest thing
the life of me cannot remember the name of it.
Yeah, the weirdest thing I've had was probably octopus, and it was like by mistake because my cousin likes to experiment with her food. So she took, instead of making curry, she took the probably spices and coloring and everything and turned the rice into curry flavored rice. And instead of like those chickens, she added octopus, like baby octopus. And I was trying to take them out. And then I look at my right and I see Dad, my father, giving me like a dish. And I was like, did you make sure that this doesn't have any octopus? He's like, just take it. And if there's octopus, just put it aside. And well, sarcastically, lucky for me, the first bite I had octopus in it, and it was buried inside, and the spoon is like a little bit deep. So it was two or three things I said. It was like, why is it chewy? What is that?
It is
and
so chewy.
Why is it like, why is it delicious? And please take it out of my mouth. Because I knew that was octopus, but I don't remember the flavor or the texture because that was like probably 10 years ago. So yeah.
So I did look it up, and I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. It's called shirako. Is the kind of the name that you find it under. That's for Japan. I'm not sure the actual.
It didn't taste like shit, but I don't know about ako.
Milt. I think milt is the correct term.
Milt.
The
okay.
weirdest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those mini tiny octopus, you mean?
No, sorry, the reproductive organ of a fish.
Okay.
It's called milt. It's like the internal portion.
Oh, yeah.
It was the weirdest thing I've had. I've had octopus, I've had squid, I've had a lot of different foods. My goal when I was in Korea for 2 years was to try as much as I could when I could actually travel around.
I assume North Korea?
South.
South yeah, Korea. Sorry, South. Yeah, South Korea. I get them always mixed up. So what's your favorite comfort food or snack of all time?
Comfort food at this point, oddly enough, rice and kimchi.
Fair enough. Mine would be probably either like rice chips. Those are like newly out or newly released here. It's like you make chips out of rice. It's like kind of eating like a rice cake, but more turned into like an actual chip, and they're flavored. Okay. Or pineapple pizza.
Okay. Now, when you want a pineapple pizza, let's say, is your preference the more traditional, if it can be called traditional, red sauce, regular cheese, pineapple, and then like either a ham or a different protein like a meat?
Just probably ham, cheese, the sauce, and then pineapples.
Okay.
Yeah, and I add ketchup to it, and I don't know why, but I've tried fried pineapples with ketchup on them. And there's another weird food thing that I love is ketchup on rice.
Okay. I mean, especially depends on the kind of ketchup you have, because there's a couple different varieties.
Heinz.
Some are more vinegary, some are,
Yeah, Heinz.
So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's kind of a slightly acidic. I've never been a huge fan of ketchup on most things, but I do love kimchi, which is completely unrelated, but that's what I like on rice.
Okay, fair enough. So the final question in the segment is, what's your favorite or a traditional food from the state or country you're in?
Oof.
You don't have to name the state, just you can name the food, the dish, the traditional dish of that state if you want.
Would you consider burgers to be traditionally America?
If you want, but probably like, for example, like mushroom burgers, for example.
Texas barbecue.
Okay. What's different in that? Like, what's added? Like
their preparation style.
Okay.
Like a brisket.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to find exactly what it is. There, really, any of the American barbecues I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the exact, like the spices and whatnot that usually have it. There are, of course, different versions, but it is usually smoked and depends on the wood. Usually it's like a hickory or something like that. And then a usually sweet tomato-based sauce, like a barbecue sauce. And that's more of an East Texas style. Or I've also had, and I was out in the desert at an event. It was like a wasteland Mad Max style event. And we brought a little smoker out there and just put a bunch of spices on the brisket and smoked it. And I think they smoked it for like 12 hours or something. And it was just super delicious. Really juicy still. Really flavorful. And it was, I would say that is probably more the, if I had to pick like what I would consider more regional, would be the style of barbecue that America has.
Yep, I've heard some Americans, like for example, like mushroom burgers, like where they add a lot of mushrooms to their burgers.
Mushroom and Swiss, yep, that's pretty common.
Yeah, probably it's more of a street food, and I highly recommend it. It's called manouche. It's like I'll send you the name. It's like bread, but not bread, like technically. Flatbread, but like special. Probably they pinch the edges all around, and then you put either thyme, or you put like cheese on it. And here we mix cheese with tomato sauce to make something else, and it's so delicious. This is one of our street foods. I'll send you the recipe and I'll send you the name of it.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so this is kind of the mental health segment, or the last segment. I did ask Sin if he'd like to choose any category to talk about, and he was open to talk about anything. But I know that Sin was like spent 3 years in the army, and I would like to just dabble in this area. So, first question is, what led you to join the army, and how did your life change before and after that?
So the primary reason that I joined it at the time that I did, I joined it at 27, so a bit later than a lot of individuals when they do join. And the primary reason was I wanted to help soldiers that got out, veterans that had gotten out and weren't doing well. And the issue that I ran into, because before I joined the military, I was a regional manager at a Fortune 500, so corporate environment. And I had a lot of employees that worked with me, either as peers, as people above me, or people, that were under me, that were former military. And though I was friendly, they were friends of mine, we had good working rapport, there was still something in how they communicated that indicated that we weren't on the same page. There was something slightly off. And I was talking to one of them about that, and they mentioned, and this is something I had heard many, many times, was that civilians don't know what a soldier has gone through. So you can emphasize, but you'll never know. And I was like, before I get too old or too broken, I'm going to join and try and learn and see if I can find a way to help those who got out and are struggling, because it's just important to me. And so I enlisted. I chose to go in as the lowest rank that I could, just as an enlisted, instead of trying to make my way to be an officer or anything of that sort. Even I'd have had to go back to school for that. But, that's the primary reason, was quite literally to understand what soldiers had to go through so that I could try to better help them. In terms of how my life changed, I went from corporate America to, being a soldier. So it was a mix of things. It went from a very regimented corporate environment, which is funny to say, comparing it to military, to a very regimented, military. And one of the big differences for the corporate side is I was at the time working 12 to 15 hours, 5 days a week, and every fourth weekend I was working 2 12s. I was overworking myself heavily, and I wasn't really getting anything. I was just working more. And then when I joined the military, there was a lot more downtime, and then the people that I worked with were there's a certain camaraderie that you get when you're in that situation versus a corporate. Corporate, everything is cutthroat. Everything is, how can I screw someone else over to get further? And I don't like that. And then in the military, even if you had a disagreement, you're like, yeah, I'd still try to pull you out of a bad situation. And so there was a certain way that you'd bond with others, even if you barely interacted with them. That definitely was a big change. But beyond that, I don't think it changed too much. It's just my schedule was a little more structured in terms of you wake up at this time, you go to PT, you go get your chow, you go, clean yourself, and then you go and you do whatever you have to do during the day. And then you'll take your lunch, you'll come back, you'll do whatever else you have to do during the day, and you'll have your evening. So it didn't change too much in that regard. It was just a little less free because you're contractually obligated to be in for a certain amount of time. So that would kind of be, I guess, a very brief way of going over it. Yeah. I only was in for 3 years. My first location was Korea, and I stayed there for 2 years. And then I got out when I got back to the States after another year. So I never was deployed. I'm not a combat veteran. I'm just a veteran. And I'm never going to try and say that I was. I just, I did 3 years. I was injured in an accident and regrettably just didn't recover enough to continue any further.
I was going to ask you about that. Like, what, if I may ask, of course, like, what caused the incident or the injury?
I was in the back of a transport and it went off the road. The actual cause, don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we know what happened. We don't know why it happened. The front right wheel went off the edge of the road into a ditch, and then thankfully the individual who was driving it managed to, as weird as it may sound, get the other front wheel into it and then turn it so that the vehicle at a weird angle went down the trench instead of flipping. So I don't know if they were completely at fault. I don't know if the road gave way. I wasn't part of that investigation. I just know that it could have been a lot worse.
And how did your life change after, or did you notice any change after you left?
And my shoulder didn't work right.
Well, yeah.
Still doesn't.
Like lifestyle-wise, I meant.
Lifestyle-wise? Like after leaving military service?
Yeah.
More freedom, but also less. I'm working with them in a way still, so I'm not like that separated from them. However, the mental relief in a way of being able to say, hey, I don't like it where I'm at, I'm just going to put in my 2 weeks and I'm going to leave, is there again. Right? I'm not dedicated to my country for 3 years, which is what I agreed upon at the time. I am now doing a service, so I've agreed to work for this much money, and if I do not like the conditions or I'm planning on moving, I can just put in a 2 weeks and leave. I don't even have to. I can just leave my job. And there was a bit of a relief there. I have my own space, like a kitchen. I don't have somebody randomly coming in. Well, not randomly, but coming in and being like, oh, is your room clean to my standard? I don't have that type of thing. So it's a lot less in-your-face interruption of my life, I guess, is the biggest change that I had. But also the loss of that camaraderie, because I don't have that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, being in the army, I'm sure you witnessed a lot of, let's say, casualties. And by casualties, I mean, a lot of, people... you see a lot of things every day in the army, regardless of where you are at, which post you're at. Have you seen anything that's a little bit triggering, or something that's still haunting you to this day, like an injury, an injury from someone that you've seen, trying to help him, Okay.
No, I can't really say that I personally do. Part of that might just be how it is, or how my mind works. Like with any of these, and this is not specifically just to me, you have a large number of people in a very concentrated area, and because you interact with them so much, smaller things that happen in the normal world, the non-military world, happen there as well, and more about it more than because suddenly the guy essentially you work and live with might not be there. So there were situations that a soldier regrettably took their own life for whatever reason. Something happened at home, and they were overseas and they couldn't do anything about it, and it's very regretful that it happened. However, for me, my mind is really good at saying, that sucks, and then moving on. The worst thing that I have that stuck with me is going to be the physical injuries. The mental side, I did join when I was older, so I already had life experience, and I have experienced more loss of friends or acquaintances growing up than I had ever in my adult life. So I was already a little jaded to it, I guess you would say.
Yeah, I can see that. But Sin, thank you so much for the time. That's basically all the time we have today. Thank you so much for every single minute you put into this podcast. Thank you for just accepting the invite. Guys, go check him out on Twitch. Go support him. Do you have any certain follow goals you want to reach?
I mean, I try not to operate too much on, hey, I'm going to meet this benchmark, I'm going to meet that benchmark. I know that the automated ones that keep on popping up say that I have goals.
I mean,
I think I'm 3 away from 140, which is the current goal.
Okay, so probably, hopefully by the time this episode airs, probably let's see you hitting that 150, hopefully.
That would be pretty cool.
Hopefully. But guys, go check him out. Go follow him, Syngod1. It's also the episode name. And I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe. No matter what happens, just take care of yourselves. Bye.